you get the opportunity to meet one of your heroes, you don't turn it down. That's exactly what happened to me recently, and I decided to bring it to a spot that I thought put me out of my comfort zone and it through its paces. Here's what they say about this lens online. The Zeiss Otis 1.4-28, the wide-angle lens, uncompromising performance across the entire image field, makes this full-frame lens unique and sets new standards among wide-angle focal lens. Use the Otis 1.4 from Zeiss to experience the quality and look of medium-format lens, whether you're shooting landscape, architecture or interiors, during the day or the night. This lens will provide you with high resolution and outstanding definition regardless of the situation. I've photographed woodland many times before. It's the texture of the trees, the colour of the leaves, and most of all, trying to find order in all that chaos. This challenges me and should also challenge this lens.
And today I've actually returned to a spot that I visited before. I created an episode here called Leading Lines. For those of you that are subscribed to the channel, maybe you remember it. If not, I'll link to it up here anyway, so you can see what I'm talking about. But I've come back to this location again because the last time I was here, what struck me about it was these trees that we are in the forest as well itself. You know, they're pretty much very, very straight, and there's pathways that were running through it, and that's why I created the episode called Leading Lines. But today I'm back here because I have a very, very exciting piece of equipment today, and I want to be able to give it an opportunity to be able to see how good it actually can be. So it's a lens, and it's by a company called Zeiss, and Zeiss lenses are absolutely known for being the cream of the crop, the top of the bunch, the best of the best. And there's a number of features that will be within this lens that really make it stand out from its own. So number one is that the sharpness of the lens and the quality of the glass that's there is second to none. And the model of the lens that I have is the Otis. It's a 28mm and it's a 1.4. And from a quality build of the lens itself, it's absolutely outstanding. It's a prime lens, so it's fixed at 28mm. And the only thing that I can do with it is to be able to change the focus within the lens as well itself. What I've noticed playing around with it before I came out today is that the focus field in it actually is really, really good. So you can get up very, very close to your subject. So I plan on doing that today because you can see there's a bit of a purple flower in the background there. That's rhododendrons. They're in full bloom at the moment. But also what I want to do is to see how sharp it is within the landscape as well itself. What I'd like to try and do would be take some shots of these trees that are straight line trees and see exactly what sort of rendition that it gives towards the image. Number one, from make sure there's no distortion. Number two, from the sharpness, but also as well from the color rendition. And the color rendition, from what I've seen in some test shots, is absolutely beautiful as well. So yeah, we're going to go play around here today. We're going to play around with this lens, and I'll talk you through some of the different shots that I'm doing as I put it through its paces. But yeah, it's an absolutely phenomenal piece of equipment, and I'm looking forward now to seeing what it can deliver in this spot. First shot that I'm going to do now here is in a landscape orientation, and I'm close enough to the bank of trees that are here in front of me, and I'm going to frame the shot that I can get some trees coming up either side and obviously trees down the center as well. And what I'm aiming to try and do here is to see how perpendicular those trees themselves can actually stay, and that you don't get any curvature on the outside of the lens as well itself. It's something I've noticed on other lenses that I have myself, even though they're extremely good quality lenses. This is, again, like I said, the upper echelons in regards to that. So I'm going to get the first shot here in a landscape orientation, like I said, and then I'll take the camera on the L bracket and I'll change it into a portrait orientation to see what sort of distortion as well, if any there is within this lens as well itself. So I'll take the first one here, and I'm going to move slightly so that I can change the composition. I want to try to have something in the bottom third of the shot. So there's a rhododendron bush that's there, but there's another one actually over here, so I'll decide which one it's going to be, and we'll come back here when I'm setting up that second shot then as well. So I'll show you the landscape version anyway now, and then we'll move on and I'll show you the portrait version when I get that set up next. So I've moved along here now, and I've changed the camera over, as you can see, into the portrait orientation. And because this lens is fixed at 28mm, I'm not able to zoom, so I have to kind of zoom with my feet, which is great because that forces you to become the human tripod as such, be able to move back and forth to change the perspective within the image as well itself. And what I'm looking at the moment here, there's a bit of a bush in front of me with a small bit of flower left in it, but in the background then as well there's another bigger bush that's full of flower, and that's surrounding one of the trees, and then they're leading straight up. So I'm going to try and take that shot, and I'm going to check, number one, like I said, in regards to the straight lines, like I said earlier on. Number two, the sharpness. And looking at the test shot that I've done here, it looks absolutely incredibly sharp. So I can see why these lenses are, you know, the top level, as I said. And then I'm going to take another shot then as well, just to make sure, I suppose, that I've got it sharp front and back, even though it's far enough away from me. You know, I'm going to make sure that I get the whole shot sharp all the way through. So I'm going to do another shot as well from a focus stack point of view. But yeah, so far anyway, this lens looks like it's absolutely incredible, but we'll see once we get the shots any of themselves. And then we're going to move on here. I'm going to try and get some intimate shots here with these purple flowers from the rhododendrons and see how it performs as well in regards to that. Come along here now to one of the rhododendron bushes, and as you can see, I'm quite close to the flower as well itself here with the lens. And the beauty of this is that, you know, the focal plane of this is quite close. So to give you an idea, I can focus in from around about 11 inches away, but it's 11 inches from the sensor as well itself. So, you know, that's going to give me focus from there to approximately here, which is incredible when you think in the distance it's going to be away from the lens. But what I'm doing right now is just looking at a cluster of these rhododendron flowers, and I'm going to see what the relative sharpness of the lens as well itself is at close quarters. Now, you know, it's not a macro lens, I'm not shooting macro, but I am shooting close up. And looking at the back of the screen here, I'm seeing a couple of things actually which are quite interesting. Number one, the color rendition is perfect. So I'm looking at it with my eye, I'm looking at it here, it's exactly the same, which is great. And the second then is the plane of focus. So at the moment I have it set and I'm at f8, and I've also done an f11 as well. That's typically because in my other lenses I know between f8 and f11 that's the sweet spot of the lens. So I'm not sure if it's going to be the same in regards to that, but I'm going to take a number of different photographs at a different f-stop to see what the depth of focus or the depth of field is going to be in regards to the subject that is pretty close here behind me. But I'm also then as well going to bring it right down or wide open to the 1.4 aperture. So, you know, I normally, from a landscape point of view, I shoot at f1.4. I have a couple of f2.8 lenses, but I've none that are f1.4, and I imagine, you know, with that it's going to be an absolutely beautiful bokeh that's going to come from the shot. So I'm going to crack on here, going to play around with those, and I'll give you a look at the different styles of photographs that I get from it and the different f-stops as well, and you'll be able to see the sharpness of the lens, and then obviously the bokeh that I'll aim for here is I'll try and single out one flower so that becomes sharp and everything else falls around in the background. Just trying to give another example here now in regards to this lens, and there's a leaf here, and one of the petals of one of the rhododendron flowers has fallen on the leaf as well itself, and I'm able to get close enough within the bush as well itself to be able to have that with the 28mm and a focal length, but also to have it at f1.4. and what I'm noticing is that it's a very small amount that you've got from a focus, so the focus plane is very small in regards to it, so it allows me to be able to have really I suppose precise focus at the front of the leaf, or at the front of the flower, or the middle of the flower, and it will fall off as well in the front and the back as well. And the bokeh that comes from it is actually really nice as well, and not getting any swirls, is actually just a smooth blurring of the background as well, so that makes that purple leaf as well itself more dominant and more popping, I suppose, really in regards to the image as well itself. But you know, I'm shooting it straight on as well, so there's going to be hard, because obviously the focal plane is going to be going as a straight line across this way, but it's going to be coming in front and obviously then going in behind that as well. But it's actually performing quite well. The sharpness is incredible. The color rendition, like I said, is fantastic. I won't know obviously until I get the images back home how good they actually are, but even looking on the back of the camera, they're incredibly good. So I'm going to try and get probably one or two, maybe one, I'd say, more shot that's here. I'm going to try and look for something else that's quite unusual in the chaos that you have within the woods as well here. But yeah, I think this lens is absolutely incredible so far, but I'll see how I get on, like I say, once I get back to base, and I'll get that final shot, and I'll give you my final thoughts, I suppose, really in regards to using this lens anyway here today. Getting down really low here now, because I want to go for again a very intimate shot. So there's one small little purple flower that you can see here, and I've got the tripod spread right to its very lowest, so the camera is as low as it can be. I'm very close to this flower as well itself, and the shot I'm going to shoot at 1.4 to be able to separate out that flower as well in itself. The settings that I'm getting right now, I'm shooting at ISO 200, and I'm at 1/400th of a second, and as I said, at f1.4. but looking at it here, it looks like it's going to be an absolutely beautiful shot, totally different, but again I want to try and give something of a different shot and different test really to this lens as well itself. But yeah, this looks quite interesting on the back of the camera anyway. It's very fine, like I said, a fine line between focus and out of focus, but I think that's going to work in regards to that flower that we see here in front of me. So I'll take this shot here now, and yeah, that'll probably conclude my use of the Otis today as it is. I'm going to use it again now for a couple of other shoots that are coming up as well, and I'll give you my thoughts on it as we go along. But first impressions in this lens actually are quite good. Seems like a quite impressive lens, very well built. The optics seem to be second to none, and the colour rendition, like I said, on a few occasions here has been really nice. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed this episode of my vlog. I'm going to sign out now. If you have any questions on the lens, please do ask them below, and I'll try and find answers for you if I don't know them myself. And until the next time, slán go fóill.